Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, we cover the primetime games as well as look forward to some of the games, maybe offer some betting tips as well on our show. Let's take a look at our green room. We have a full guest lineup today. Joining me, Charles from Spread Knowledge will make his debut on the drive-thru. You hear him every morning with Mitch in the mornings, but we got him here on the drive-thru for today on Mondays. Joe D'Amico will co-host with me as well. Joe's back. Rodd Zawacky will be signing on. Let's see if I got a message here from Rodd. Okay, Rodd will be signing on a little bit later. We've got Ninos in the house, and we've got Chris Ruffolo will also co-host. We've got Kevin Thomas and Brian Bitler, who sits atop the leaderboards in college football for this season. You can see a pretty good week you had there, Brian.
No, it wasn't good enough. Not
wasn't
to my
good enough.
Standards. 2 and 3 doesn't cut the mustard.
All right. Well, we'll look for you to rebound this week. Let's go ahead and bring in my co-host, Chris Ruffolo and Joe D'Amico. We'll go ahead and start with Joe. Joe, how is the vibe in Vegas? We're getting through the season, running rapidly in the NFL. How was the handle out there?
Well, I got to tell you, I think that, with the opening of the Circus Sportsbook, it was as crowded as safety precautions are allowed to be. I was around town this past weekend, Saturday and Sunday, putting my own bets in, spreading my money around. My dear friends over at the Superbook, crowded. Circa was crowded. Even some of the smaller houses were crowded. The little Silvertons and the Orleans, the South Points, which always has a great book. One of my dearest friends, Jimmy Vaccaro, runs that book, one of the best books in all of the world, let alone Vegas. But the crowds are here. People are betting. People are excited, Tony, not just about the fact that we're halfway through the NFL season. We've really got a feel of the good teams and who to bet against. And there's a few teams that are some posers. We've talked about the last few weeks on the show. But we've got some new blood coming in college football. We've got the MAC. We've got the Pac-12. And, I started singing it this morning. Sunny days are here again because the Pac-12 opens up. This is an exciting time for sports betting, not just college sports, I think for the country overall, because when our kids across the country, and I'm talking about college football, college basketball, are on the field or on the court, I think it's a great time. As a country, it's going to lift us up. But as far as sports betting goes, there's no better time of year than right now.
Absolutely. And Chris, I'd like to get your thoughts here. Some teams that went down, LSU went down badly. So did Michigan, and upset, almost 3 touchdown favorite falling against Michigan State.
Yeah, those were 2 games I was kind of keyed in on over the course of the weekend. I won't lie to you, I was on LSU. I just wasn't sold on Auburn, but they'd like to make me eat my words, and I had to eat them. They were not sweet at all, I'll tell you that much. But Michigan State, I think we agreed to begin with that was too many points for a rivalry game. I think the line closed out at about 21.5, and it just goes to show you in a rivalry game, pretty much all numbers can go out the window. All bets are pretty much off at that point. And, Michigan State showed up, pulled off the upset, and made some of us a lot of money. And if you're on the other side with Michigan, well, I feel bad for you. But then again, it's just another big game that Jim Harbaugh wasn't meant to win.
Absolutely. Here, guys, this is the drive-through. A lot of free picks coming. We're going to definitely have a pick here from Monday Night Football. We'll have a lot of MAC on the show as well for games coming up on Wednesday. And we'll have we'll sprinkle in some Champions League. So a lot of picks on the show today. Let's go ahead and bring in our first capper, Brian Bitler. You'll hear him in the morning with Mitch and company. And, of course, sitting at the top of the college football stands. We're going to talk some college football, or actually some NFL with Brian. Brian, how are things going and how are things going for you in the NFL over the weekend?
Well, you know what? Like I said earlier, 2 and 3 weekend in both NFL and college football doesn't cut the mustard. But, I took a little look at the MAC action coming up on Wednesday and some Thursday and Friday stuff. So we got some good opportunities coming up, BYU, Boise State later on in the week. I think we're going to get it back.
All right, very good, Brian. How do you feel about the MAC conference coming into this season? There's some heavy hitters at the top. There were some pretty bad teams last year. How do you see it?
I'm the kind of guy that can sit down and watch an entire Akron Zips game, and as long as I have action going on it, I can be entertained. Some guys might not, but for me, I like MAC action, but only if I'm betting on the game. If I don't have action on it, I don't know.
All right, Brian, you got the NFL today. We got Thursday night 49ers and the Packers. Some bad news for the 49ers with the quarterback situation. But we see the Pack here laying 3. A total sits here at 51. Both teams looking to rebound.
Yeah, I think the books pretty much knew the injury situation. This line really hasn't moved from where it opened maybe yesterday at this time. I think the biggest hit for them is losing Kittle at tight end. When Nick Mullins came in the game, or when Mullins came in the game yesterday for the Niners, he actually didn't have bad numbers. I know they were already well behind, but for me, I don't think they lose too much at quarterback. I think he's a good game manager. And the Niners have been a team that could win a couple games, lose a couple games, win a couple games this year. Now they're catching a Packers team that got upset yesterday. Now they got to travel out to San Francisco, and I think the Niners are a dog that I'm going to be playing maybe straight up on the money line, but just for safety, I'm going to take that +3. Also, guys, wait later in the week, see if you can get that 3.5, and if you do, jump on it.
All right, Chris, looking at this 49er team, they haven't been the best at home this year, but you're getting points here against a Packer team that's lost 2 of 3.
No, for sure, and with that line not budging after this line came out. Sorry, with this line budging after the injuries came out. We talk about how the injuries are baked into the line, and I think Brian's dead on. I think that they knew that this injury news was coming. And I agree. I think Kittle's a massive loss because you look at that game that Nick Mullins started in prime time for the 49ers against the Eagles. George Kittle had 15 receptions in that game. He was the safety valve for both Mullins and C.J. Beathard when Beathard took over for Mullins. And, I haven't delved too deeply into this game just yet. I know it's a Thursday night game, so we're running out a little bit of time. So don't have a solid play to give you here. My initial lean was towards the Packers just because of the injuries to Kittle and Garoppolo. But again, this is something that we're gonna have to take a look at over time. I could flip flop and I could be on the same side as Brian as this one. So it's still a little bit early for me, but my initial lean was towards the Packers.
All right, Joe, I know the 49ers is a very popular team up in Northern California. What's the action like for them in Southern Nevada?
Well, to be honest with you, you're always going to get money here in Vegas on the 49ers. They're a fan favorite. I agree with both Brian and Chris. I feel that Kittle is a very big loss. You could stick a new quarterback in there, and as long as you got, the defense that San Francisco shows at times, and the fact that any of their quarterbacks can get the ball off to Kittle. But when you lose Kittle, it's a big thing. I personally took a bite. I want you to know, won my college football game of the month on Cincinnati on Saturday. Was very, very excited about my NFC North game of the month on Sunday. Listeners, followers, guys, I had the Packers. I love the Packers all week. Put an extra couple of bets on them myself. I lost my shirt with them. I would think that in this game, though, only from the do-for factor, I think with 2 losses, I don't see the Packers losing 3 in a row. So I think it would be a very difficult situation for me that if I don't hear about some injury or somebody on the Packers catching some safety protocol where he's going to have to miss the game or sit, I would have to go the Packers, just not for the do-for factor, but I don't think this team could lose 3 in a row. I think it would hurt morale. They don't have the youngest quarterback in the league, even though he's got some great numbers this year. But I think just from the do-for factor, I don't think the Packers can lose 3 in a row and get their confidence back so easily. If I played this game right now, I'd probably take the Packers. I might wait for a 2.5. I don't know if it's going to go down because normally you're going to see some money, like we said, on the Niners. But then again, with the injuries, maybe they hit the Packers and it goes up. I don't know right now. My ears here in Vegas have not. My information shows I'm not come in yet, but I think it's a tough game right now. And I think that we're seeing a lot of injuries and a lot of situations in the NFL that are affecting the lines and affecting the games and how we look at them.
Yeah, injuries definitely on the defensive side. All right, Brian, as we begin our show here, I know you're having a fantastic season in college football. Why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Big Dogs Premium?
Well, I got a special sale going on in the next 2 days. Guys can pre-buy my college basketball pass, and over the last 689 college basketball plays, I've hit 56% winners. So right now, you can get on over to pickdogs.com, get my college basketball pass for just $400, and that'll get you every pick I put out. That's $100 off the normal price. So just a little pre-sale to get guys on there early. Take advantage because college basketball is going to be just as good as my college football is.
Yeah, about 3 weeks away, guys. Good time to pick up a college basketball package from Brian Bitler. You can find him over at Pig Dogs Premium. You can also pick up his 30-day pass. You want to get all of his football for 30 days. He has that pass available right now, so go ahead and check it out at Pig Dogs Premium. Of course, Brian right now sitting number 1 documented at Pig Dogs Premium from college football. All right, Brian, as always, great having you on the show. You have yourself a great night, and we'll talk with you at the end of the week. We got you on Friday.
Yep. See you gentlemen later.
All right.
Good luck, Brian.
Good luck, Brian. Brian Bitler here join us here on the drive-through, and now it's time to bring in Joe D'Amico with his show pick. As we're going to be looking, Joe, we're going to be looking at a MAC conference between Ohio and Central Michigan. How you see this one?
And Tony, I got to tell you, Tony, Chris, all these 27 and 8 or 9 or something, they just keep winning. I don't even know why I'm putting paid games up, but I am. In any case, yes, I did look at the Ohio Central Michigan game. I've seen this line move about a point since I started looking at it since yesterday. CMU, which had a good regular season a year ago, I don't think they're too worried on offense, sports fans. They return a ton of talent on that side of the ball. There is some questions, however, on defense where they lost several key starters. But in this conference, I think we would all agree that it's all about offense, and how many points you can put on the board. Sports fans, Ohio took a hit on offense. They took a hit on defense. They took a hit on special teams, including the loss of 7 all-conference selections. I mean, guys, this is a team that really lost the entire top layer of their talent. I think they're going to be in a little bit of trouble. Chippewas, they won and covered the last 4 meeting in this series. They're 6-1 the last 7 at home. Bobcats 3-7 both the last 10 on field turf. And overall, when the season begins, you have to look at the side with the team with proven playmakers. And right here, that's CMU, folks. I like CMU in this game, sports fans. I like getting a point. I like them at pick'em. I won't even like them minus a point if the money goes that way. I think they win this game by a touchdown or more.
All right, Joe D'Amico says go ahead and take Central Michigan, laying the point against Ohio. All right, Chris, Solich has been around forever. Right? He's entering his 16th season at Ohio.
Yeah, and there's a reason that there's been so much continuity for him in that program. He's a fantastic coach, but I do think Joe's right on this one. I think Ohio's lost a ton of experience from last year's roster. These were 2 teams that were in the top half of the country last year in terms of total defense. And, as much as we like to talk about offense in the MAC, there is a little bit of something to be said for their defense as well. And, Central Michigan side by side, they're bringing back 19 of their 22 top tacklers from last year. So this is definitely a Chippewas team that's going to have a ton of experience on the defensive side. And like Joe said, they're bringing back more experience on offense as well. I like David Moore as a quarterback. I like their receiver Pimpleton. He had almost 900 receiving yards last year. He's going to be the guy to look for in that offense. And I just think Central Michigan ekes one out over the Bobcats. So I'm with Joe on Central Michigan in this one.
All right, so we got to all agree here on this one with Joe's pick. With taking Central Michigan, laying the 1 against Ohio. All right, Joe, as we're approaching here, 1/4 the hour, why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
I have a few exciting things going on, sports fans. First of all, as you know, I've been monikered the king of Monday Night Football because everybody can always depend on Joe D'Amico come Monday night. I'm 6-2 this season on Monday nights. Tonight, in this Monday night matchup, I actually looked at the next 4 weeks, the month of November of Monday games. This is my Monday Night Football game of the month. Go over, get it at Pick Dogs. Like Brian, I'm very excited about college basketball, a multi-time college basketball handicapping champion. I put up a very quick, it's going to be a flash sale, guys, only for a few days. My basketball season is 50% off. Normally $750. You're getting it for $375 at Pick Dogs. Listen, you buy it now, it'll pay for itself in the first week or two, and you've got the whole rest of the college basketball campaign is icing on the cake. Just follow me, get some of my packages. You'll make some money.
That's right. You'll make money with Joe D'Amico. Check him out over at Pig Dogs Premium. He's got a 7-day or that 30-day all sports pass. Get all of Joe's football, NFL, college football for 30 days over at Pig Dogs Premium, and you'll get you on the winning side of things. All right, Joe D'Amico here with us here on the drive-thru, serving as our co-host along with Chris Ruffolo as we continue on the show. And right now we're going to go ahead and welcome Kevin Thomas. You'll find him over at Pig Dogs Premium over in the premium area. So let's go ahead and dial in Kevin. Kevin, how are you doing out there?
Good. How you guys doing?
Well,
hey, Kevin.
It's Monday night, so we're looking forward to some action. But I know we're getting close to MAC conference play. And is that a conference you follow regularly over your season's handicapping?
Well, I do because of that on Wednesdays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So yes, I do follow them.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes I'll even follow them on the weekend, because I have so much
No,
knowledge.
No, I like the Big Ten.
Yeah, okay, so you're a Big Ten guy. Sometimes there are some teams you like to ride, and sometimes they stick in your head because you put so much time into that Wednesday, Thursday handicap, and then sometimes you gravitate to those teams. You ever do that, Chris Ruffolo, when we handicap the max so much that sometimes those are the teams that catch your attention when the lines open up?
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the teams we're about to talk about was one of those teams that I hopped on last year quite a few bit, just based on location rivalries and just how many games they played. But absolutely, if you find a team to hop on, it could be the MAC, it could be the Pac-12, it could be the Big Sky for all I care. If they're making me money consistently week after week, I'm going to hop on them.
All right, you're going to be hopping on a MAC squad here. Kevin, you're going to be looking at this Kent State and Eastern Michigan team. Eastern Michigan lost about half their starters, so we've got Kent State here favored by 6 in this one.
Yes, and that the big starter is Mike Glass III. Yep. I mean, you're losing almost 3,500 yards in completions and stuff right there. You're losing 4 of their best tacklers. They do keep their receivers, which is good, but their offensive coordinator also left. So now the head coach, Chris Creighton, will be making the offensive decisions. Now, I don't know, but I know I'm a big Packer fan. Mike McCarthy, when he called the plays, they were garbage. I'm seeing it with the Cowboys. I mean, I'm not a fan of coaches take on too much. So without a lot of any kind of pre-games, this is going to be the first time you got a new the kid's not really new. Preston Hutchinson, he did play a little bit for Eastern Michigan at the end. They're going against Kent State, and you got Dustin Crum. The kid is 2,622 yards passing last year, 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I think they're the complete team. They returned 3 of 5 of their cornerbacks, and they actually picked up 2 from the Big Ten transfers. So I think they're going to be, in the beginning, I think Kent covers this easy, but I'm not going to rule out Eastern Michigan after maybe 2 or 3 weeks down the road as taking them to cover a lot of games themselves.
All right, Kevin Thomas is on the Kent side, laying the 6. Chris, what do you say in this one? I'm always afraid laying Eastern Michigan, giving them a little bit more than a field goal. But how do you see this one, especially an Eastern Michigan team that lost Glass? And I know when Glass got hurt last year, the team went a little south.
No, they definitely didn't. That's for good reason, because Mike Glass was that team. That he was easily the best player on that team, and I'm with Kevin on this one. I don't expect a lot out of Eastern Michigan in game 1. It's like you said, they have a new play caller, new quarterback. They have to overhaul that defense completely to start the season with limited practice. And, Kent State with Dustin Crum, Kent State led the MAC in passing efficiency last year, and Crum with that 20-2 touchdown to interception ratio was a big part of that. And I think that Kent State easily can win this game by double digits. I just, like I said, I don't expect much from Eastern Michigan in this one, and I think Kent State has a field day in this one. I'd lay the points as well with Kent State.
Yeah, I can't argue that one. Joe, what's the action like in Vegas on some of these MAC games?
Well, during the week, people normally wait. 90%, 95% of the action you get in all of football is Saturday and Sunday. So when you have Monday, Wednesday, which is so odd to say, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday games, there's action on it because obviously there's less of the pool to choose from, Tony, Chris, and Kevin. But there's a lot of focus on it. There's a lot of money on it. And I've said it before, Chris and I have agreed. There's gold in them Dart Hills. Just because it's not a Power 5 conference doesn't mean there's not money to be made in Big Sky, Sun Belt. It doesn't matter. If you can make money in a conference, if you're making money, you stay with it. And I do see trends. Watching these games, Chris, Kevin, Tony, watching these games during the week, we do get a feel for some of these MAC teams and these smaller schools. And sometimes, and sports fans, I want you to know, there's no law that says you can't go against a team you won with the last few weeks. Remember, not your heart. It's your head, and you couldn't get a feel for a team for or against a certain number or certain other teams because of matchups. You're getting to know them. If you're making money, stay with it. And if it's a smaller conference, it doesn't matter as long as you're making money. We're not in this for fun, guys. We're here to make money.
Yeah, exactly right. And of course, I'm with you, Kevin, on this play. It's just Glass was a big part of it. I remember when they had a big halftime lead. Glass got hurt in the first half, and they gave up a big lead in the second half without Glass in there. So I watched the game on ESPN Plus last year, and I remember it. And I remember that backup was not very good. They really struggled without Glass in there. So that's that. I'm with you there. All right, Kevin. As we approach the bottom of the hour, I want to let everybody know what you have going on at Pig Dogs Premium. Past 7 days, you've been knocking it out.
I'm number one last 7 days, and I bet against my Packers Sunday to get another win. But you have to do that. It's about making money, just like Joe said. But tonight you can get my Monday night game, and then Wednesday I will have a 3-pack in the MAC conference up for sale. So make sure you're looking out for that. But tonight you can still get on my Monday night top play. That's
right, guys. Check out Kevin Thomas over at Pig Dogs Premium. Pick up one of his packs. Actually, his 30-day all sports pass. Get all of his plays from football, NFL, college football for 30 days, and get in with the winner over at Pig Dogs Premium. All right, Kevin, as always, great having you on your show. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll talk with you next week.
You too. See you later, guys. Thank you.
Our buddy Kevin Thomas here on the drive-through. I continuing on with the show. As we're covering a lot of MAC because that's coming up on Wednesday. We need to get people up to speed with this conference. It's interesting times, Joe. As we've got teams in mid-season form and we got conferences starting. So the sports fan out there has really got to change gears.
Absolutely. And Tony, Chris, gentlemen, I think if we didn't learn a lesson in the beginning of this college football season, and we didn't learn it over the last 2 weeks in Big Ten play, I think we're going to learn it again this week with Pac-12 and MAC conferences starting. A lot of these teams are rusty. And remember, there's rust on both sides of a metal fence. Both sides. You see a lot of these teams. We're seeing injuries, soft tissue injuries. We're seeing a lot of ACL injuries. But we're seeing a lot of sloppy ball. We're even seeing some coaches that are making some really bad decision-making final in the last few minutes of the games. But I see a lot of rust on a lot of these teams. And that's where sometimes I look at special teams. Who's doing well in special teams? Who has experienced veterans in special teams, proven special teams. Good field, a good punting unit, a good kicking unit, and a good receiving unit, return unit, I think is very important, especially in these MAC conferences. Let's face it. You look at the SEC, you look at the Big Ten, you've got those big powers. All the guys on the lines are big and strong. You look at the Big 12, they're always going to air it up. You're going to see 60, 70, 80, 90 points a game. But in these smaller conferences, I really think mistakes mean a lot. So teams that have good punting and kicking units, good teams that have good return units, good return specialists. I think it's going to be a lot, especially in the beginning of this season, because teams are going to come in here rusty.
Yeah, exactly. Continuity also helps too. All right, here on the drive-through, it's time for Chris to step up to the plate. He's going to be looking at the games from the MAC, Buffalo and Northern Illinois. With Buffalo, the road favorite here, 11 total sits at 52. But boy, this Northern Illinois team's really gone south.
Absolutely, and this is one of those conferences where continuity and experience can mean a lot more than in other conferences, just because of how condensed and how tight everything is and how some of these games go about. But Northern Illinois, for being a team that less than a few years ago was a 10-win team, and a team that was participating in New Year's Six bowl game, it's like Tony said, they've fallen from grace really, really far. Buffalo, still a team that you got to watch out for, and this is another team that I think is actually going to win the MAC this year. I mean, Northern Illinois, we talk about experience. This is a team with 60 freshmen out of 92 players. Northern Illinois lost a ton of players to the transfer portal and going out of the program. Buffalo got their 2 quarterbacks back, Kyle Van Treese and Matt Myers. They've got Antonio Nunn, Daniel Lee, Zach Lefebvre outside, and recorded 9 of their 14 receiving touchdowns last year. The biggest thing for me is that Jarrett Patterson's back after finishing 5th in the country last year with almost 1,800 rushing yards. I just think that Buffalo's the better team, the more complete team. I think they're going to take this one to Northern Illinois. I see Buffalo winning this one by at least 14 points. So I'll lay the points with Buffalo in this one.
All right, Chris Ruffolo says go ahead and lay the Buffalo Bulls minus the 11 against Northern Illinois. All right, Chris, looking at that northern Illinois side, we talked about how it went south, and this is at one time was really a strong defense, but we've just seen that since the coaching change, it's just really just when you look at this team, it really has been ugly. They won their first game last year, then they went on a 4-game losing streak, losing to Ball State, and they lost to Central Michigan by 38 points. At the end of the season, it was near the second. They faced Eastern Michigan last year. They lose 45-17.
Yeah, and that was still an Eastern Michigan team that did have Mike Glass, but again, for a team that was priding itself on its defense, giving up 45 points to Eastern Michigan, 48 to Central Michigan, games like that, performances like that are sort of inexcusable. And Eastern Michigan, that game was at home as well, and you lose to like you said, they kept it close with Ball State early on. That was a decent performance, and kept it close with Miami, Ohio on the road. But again, this is still a proud Northern Illinois team that losing isn't in their DNA, and I just think this is going to be a rough year for the Huskies. I do think that they'll bounce back eventually once they sort of get, like I said, some continuity within that program. They start to get some guys rolling back over again, but. For this year, I just think Buffalo is going to be the team to beat in that conference. I just think that they've got it on both sides of the football, and I think they can give Kent State a bit of a run for top spot in that conference.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, looking at some of the key stats here from the team last year, only near the bottom of college football in third down conversion, something that really drew my attention. Only 3.9 yards a carry, 90th in the league in running. I always thought of Northern Illinois, the quarterbacks running the football, gobbling up chunks of yardage. Didn't happen, especially against these. There's a lot of bad defenses in the MAC conference, and of course we saw that there. The defense and the run game, that tells me that there's problems there at the offensive and defensive line. All right, Chris, as we're approaching the bottom of the hour, I want to let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium.
So for tonight, I still got my Monday Night Monster NFL play. We're coming off a 5-2 day yesterday during the day, and our Sunday night winner. So. Planning on winning that game tonight as well, finishing a nice 7-2 Sunday. Again, I'm going to have some Champions League plays up for tomorrow, and like we always say, hop on those longer-term packages. Like we say, Mac's right around the corner, starting up on Wednesday, and when you get those longer-term packages, you're going to get a better deal than if you just buy an individual package for one day. You're going to get a ton of picks. I'm putting out multiple picks daily. Soccer, we're going to have basketball in a few weeks as well. You're going to get your best value there and your best bang for your buck. So get on one of those longer-term packages and pick up some winners.
That's right. Pick up winners from Chris Ruffolo over at Pig Dogs Premium. Why not get that 30-day all sports pass? Get all plays from Chris Ruffolo for 30 days. You'll get his NFL, his college football, his soccer. Now we got soccer midweek with the Champions League. A lot of international play during the week. And of course, the weekends you get into Premier action. Of course, some of the bigger European leagues, La Liga, and of course the Premier League. So check them out over at Pig Dogs Premium and pick up one of those 30-day all sports passes. All right, continue on here on the drive-through. I'm joined by Joe D'Amico, and right now we're going to welcome, for the first time on our show, you hear him in the mornings, bright and early in the mornings, with Mitch. But we're going to go ahead and bring in Chris. We're going to bring in Charles from Spread Knowledge. So we get him on here. Charles, how are things going for you today? I think we might have lost your sound there, Charles. Is your mic set up?
Oh, sorry, had it on mute. How are you doing? I'm doing great.
Oh, we're doing very, very well. Welcome to our show, our drive-through. Why don't you? I think we can introduce you to our audience. Why don't you let everybody know what about Spread Knowledge? We see the best of Spread Knowledge over at Pig Dogs. Why don't you let everybody know about what you got going on?
Yeah, so we try to post our A's and B's, which are pretty much our highest graded picks that are generally profitable over time. So what we have is a machine grading system that assigns a letter grade, A through F, with B's and A's being our most profitable picks over time. And we those to, Pick Dogs where you can get them, and they're pretty good.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I heard a lot, Mitch. We hear your show in the morning, of course, with Mitch, and there's a lot. You go through about half an hour, a lot of good information there for the audience, a really large audience in that early time slot over at the Pig Dogs and Sports Chat Place YouTube channel throughout social media. We're going to be looking here at Monday Night Football, Charles, here for the show. We got Tampa Bay and the Giants And boy, we've seen this total move up quite a bit. I think we've seen anywhere from 46 to 47. And of course, Tampa Bay here favored by 13 in some places.
Yep, we in general we try to avoid primetime NFL, but I kind of wanted to come on the show with a bang here and try to do something for today. So our machines really like the over 45 or 46 now. Both sides of it, both the Tampa Bay over side, essentially looking backward in time, and the New York Giants over 45 or 46, whatever you can get it at. In general, prime time is kind of wacky, and the under has been dominating prime time for the most part, but the Giants haven't covered an over in the last 9 games, I think, so they're kind of due, and the Bucks are kind of a wild card, but we like the machines both assign Bs to both sides of it, so we're going to go with the over tonight, and hopefully it's entertaining.
All right, Charles says go over total here, 46 with Tampa Bay and New York Giants. And, of course, Charles, this is a unique year. There's no fans. And, of course, in your parameters, how do you factor home field advantage, in this unique season?
Yeah, I mean, today truthfully, our machines look at it the same way as they did in past years, which is probably not the best. But I'm hoping things get back to normal pretty fast, and our machines can do a lot better than they've been doing, I'd say. With kind of more normal data. Our data has been tough because, COVID is just different. And there's a wackiness that comes with COVID that you don't see a lot in previous seasons. And it's difficult for the machines to account for that, really. So not that I'm trying to be an apologetic here, but it's, definitely looking to get to college basketball where there's a lot wider selection of games available and different things we can do. The football markets are very tight. There's a lot of money and analysis that goes into that stuff. And, it's kind of hard to beat them over time, to be honest. But basketball markets are a lot more beatable. So looking forward to some college basketball.
Yeah, there's more choice, no doubt about that. Instead of one game on a Monday, you may. And I know we don't have those really big cards on Monday. You may have maybe 6 to 9 games on a Monday. It's not like it used to be with the big Monday. But yeah, there would definitely be a lot more to choose from. But it's kind of an interesting year. You said, well, there's the crowd noise would help the home team, but now without the crowds, is it helping the road teams? Are we seeing more scoring on the other side on the visitor?
It seems to help the road teams. I mean, Aaron Rodgers made that pretty clear when he was able to do things on the road that, previously isn't really possible. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's helped. Usually it's like a field goal in the NFL for the home team. It's probably maybe a point nowadays. Maybe it's even just even, but I mean, more fans will come back into the stands, and it will hopefully get more normalized over time. But certainly the home field doesn't seem to be having the same effect as it has in the past years.
I like to talk to all the people who look at data analytics. What do you plan to do moving forward when things become normal again? What do you plan to do with your COVID data? I'm sure you've given that a lot of thought. Because we went through a baseball season on neutral. We've gone through basketball in a bubble without fans, of course, with baseball, I should say. What do you plan to do with that COVID data moving forward?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thought is you hope the machines would kind of recognize that some of it is a bit maybe in the outlier area and maybe kind of throw some of it out. But truthfully, I mean, a lot of it will be incorporated because the way we do it, we look at profitability, right, which in general favors small markets over big markets. So, for baseball, you see a lot of Oakland and KC picks that are A's, right? Why is that? Because there's no value on the huge public markets, right? So, I think even though it's COVID times, the profitability metrics and things that kind of follow those small market teams will still kind of follow them with the trends because it's more like public betting theory than it is related to actually fans in the stands or how the team is performing. So, initially you'd hope the machines could kind of recognize some of it as being strange, but I think in general they'll see it as kind of a lot of the same, which is, small markets win, big markets don't, and kind of keep moving on, All
right, very good. It's Charles joining us here from Spread Knowledge here on the Drive-Thru. Chris, did you look at this Monday night game here with Tampa Bay and the Giants? We've seen a big line move. It looked like open around Tampa 10, and we're seeing now coming up to Tampa Bay minus 13. The total back up to about 46. And it's actually, we do see some 46.5s and 47s popping up. So we're seeing some push. And maybe after Charles gave out the over, we're seeing the line move up.
Yeah, it's been yeah, it's been going back and forth, and this is a game that I was having issues with because it just seems like the Bucks were a bit of an easy play just on the surface. Before you really delve into anything, you just think, oh, well, you know what, it's the Giants, and you know, it's Tom Brady in prime time. But then again, you think, well, Tom Brady's had, you know, his demons in the past against the Giants, and can he really, you know, get over that hurdle? Maybe without, you know, Chris Godwin in the lineup. Still has Gronkowski, still has Mike Evans, he still has, you know, some of his favorite targets, and that defense is the Tampa Bay defense. I think is one of the more underrated defensive units in the NFL. But you know, as far as the Giants go, can Daniel Jones get into the open field without tripping over his own feet? You know, it's something that we'll have to see if he can get through tonight. But personally, I was with spread knowledge on this one. I like the over. I think we're going to see a fair share of points, regardless of who scores them, whether it's a Tampa Bay blowout or whether we get New Orleans chipping into that total as well.
Joe, what's happening in New York with football, my man?
Oh, I got to tell you, man, you could put both New York teams in there together, and you still wouldn't be able to field a winning Pop Warner team. They are not very good. It's ugly. It's ugly, and you know, which is strange. You know, I know we always come to me for the New York issues. I'm in Las Vegas for 30 years. I'm never going to lose a New York in me, and I'm always going to root for those New York teams. But and these are two media markets, so no matter what you're going to do, you're always going to hear that, you know, New York is either great or New York is either stinks. And unfortunately, these are the two very, very bad teams. Chris mentioned that, you know, Jones, he just keeps tripping over his feet. And you know, it is, and not so much the Jets. We haven't seen the Jets successful in many, many years. But the Giants had so many good teams over the years. To see them this bad now, and it's horrible. It's sad. I mean, listen, I wrote an article this week about the Kansas college football team that their fans can't wait for college basketball to start. I got to tell you, back in New York, they can't wait for baseball to. They're waiting for the Knicks to start, and nobody's waiting for the Knicks to start. It's sad in New York, but I will tell you this: I agree with a lot of what Charles said. I agree with what Chris said. This situation, you know. But looking at it, I've got to tell you, Chris, I have this as my Monday Night Football game of the month here on Pick Dogs. There was something that stood out to me in this game. I think, and I'm not saying about this specific game, but you're seeing a lot of these NFL games. You know, back in the old days, Chris, I think you would agree. Back in the old days, even up to a few years ago, laying double digits in the NFL, you automatically got to look to the dog. Then you go on prime times, a Monday night game, the Sunday night game. You go, you got to take the points. I think we've seen a couple of double-digit favorites blow up some of these underdogs. I think that people aren't afraid to lay the double digits in the NFL anymore. This season, I think this season we've seen a lot different. This isn't the SEC, guys. This isn't a Big 10 team or even a Big 12 team playing a top Big 12 against a lesser Big 12. This is the NFL where you're not supposed to lay double digits, but we're seeing double digits favorites come in.
You know, Charles, I always used to hear back in the day that, you know, the people who study analytics would always jump on the double digits in the NFL. As Joe was saying, have you seen that trend here, obviously, recently with the double-digit favorite?
You know, I said on the show last week that I think any point spread like greater than plus 17 wins like 3 out of 4 times in the past. But I don't know that applies in this type of league anymore. It's such a pass-first league. You know, it's just so different, the scoring, than even it was 10 years ago. So, you know, it's hard to really know how far back to consider the data when you're incorporating it into the analytics. But, I mean, truthfully, that's what the machines are supposed to tell you, you know, if the data is predictive or not. But, yeah, it certainly seems that way.
I remember when teams were getting really good at recovering onside kicks, we started noticing defenses playing, you know, protecting even a 2-score league. They didn't want to give up that score and lose the onside kick. Now that they've changed the onside kick rules again, where it's a lot more difficult to recover that onside kick, so it's interesting to see how many more back doors will be coming in. Something that I'm going to be looking at, because I remember back in the day before kickers became specialists with the onside kick, and we saw a lot of onside kick recoveries. how it's going to impact now with the change in the rules in the kickoff. So that's something I'm going to be looking at moving forward, because I do remember back in the day when you had a lot of backdoor covers in the NFL, and because teams would just play that that prevent defense, and they would just figure, well, the onside kick, we're going to recover it anyway, so let's don't risk injury here on the kickoff team. All right, continue here with Charles. Charles, as we passed the bottom of the hour, why don't you let everybody know what you have over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Yeah, we post our best of, which is pretty much A's, and we sprinkle in some B's here and there. We had a really strong September, and not as strong October, but definitely looking forward to a great November, especially as college basketball kicks in. That's really a sweet spot for us.
All right, guys, so check out Charles' the spread knowledge over at Pig Dogs Premium, and of course, best of spreads knowledge. Why don't you pick up a long-term pass up there, and you'll get in with the winner. And of course, that's Charles over at spread knowledge. All right, Charles, as always, thanks for joining us on the show, and we'll be looking for you over at Pig Dogs Premium, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, everybody, Charles here from Spread Knowledge. And of course, we'll continue on with the show here. We've got Chris. I think we had Chris on here. Let's see. Let's bring him on. There we go. We got Joe D'Amico back in the saddle. And of course, we've got Chris Ruffolo as we continue on here on the show. Next up, let's bring him in, Rodd Zawacky. Rodd Zawacky is part of the morning crew with Chris and Brian Bitler. Is there a new face on that show, Chris?
Yes, there is. Ann Shore, she's fantastic. She's a welcome addition to our show, and she's been nailing her NFL totals, and I'll tell you, she's doing really well, much better than I did when I first started on Pick Dogs. That's for sure. I think I went 0 for 9 on my first 2 shows, but all she had to. But I mean, that's not. I was setting the bar low because I figured someone else was going to join eventually. It was part of the master plan, I'm underhanding it for the next person that's going to show up.
Taking one for the team, huh, Chris?
All you got to do is get one, and you did better than I did. So that's
excellent. All right, let's welcome in the show Rodd Zawacky, part of the morning crew with Brian Bitler and of course Mitch, Rodd, and of course Rodd Zawacky join us here. Rodd, how are things going?
Going good. Not bad for a Monday.
Yeah, I know you wear that Miami Dolphins cap, so I got to get your thoughts here. I know it was more the defense and special teams against the Rams, but how do you assess the young kid in his first start?
Hey, he got a win, and yes, maybe there were everybody chipped in to make sure he got that win. It was definitely a total team effort by the Dolphins, beating up on the Rams.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And of course, Chris, we've seen these flat performances from the Rams before, so it was no surprise for them going down in this spot.
Absolutely not, and I'm not looking backwards, but this was just how I figured it would play out. Given 2 of that extra protection, this was a Miami offensive line that's still top 5 in the league defending against the sack, and they rendered Aaron Donald almost ineffective in that game, and we saw how effective Tua can really be when he gets the right protection, when he has the receivers, and when he can fit the ball in that tight window, and he looked really good in his first start.
Yeah, and of course, Joe, and that kid, I will get Joe's opinion on this one, bringing Tua when the team's doing well. I thought it was a good move because a lot of times we see these rookies get inserted when the team's doing bad, when they're not blocking, when they can't run. And of course, it makes it tough on that rookie. But when things are going well, I think it was a good time to insert him. What do you say?
I see your point. I personally think they could have waited. I thought they have a good team with the quarterback they were using, and I think Tua is the future of the franchise. And God forbid he gets an injury right now. I think it's unnecessary. But this team is starting to win. They have some confidence. They won with authority yesterday. They have a chance in their specific division. I mean, that's really anybody's division right now. So. Let's put this on. It's not the Jets' division. They don't have a chance. That goes without saying. Let's take that one for granted. But to be honest with you, they've got a chance. But I mean, he looked good. He certainly has all the tools it takes. He's certainly a great athlete. He makes good decisions. He was well coached through his high school and his collegiate days. And he's supposed to be a very smart person personally, and he reads defenses. So you put all that together, and Chris mentioned this, and I think Miami's a very underrated team. I really do. This is a good, solid team with good playmakers. It's just that a lot of their players, Tony, Chris, Rodd, they're not household names, so you don't hear about them every Monday in the following sports page. You hear about the Miami team or the quarterback or a certain player. You don't hear about everybody else because they're not all household names. but you don't need household names to win ball games, and I congratulate Tua, and I think he's very exciting for the sport of football.
Yeah, definitely bring up the team. I can see the team was really excited with Tua in the lineup. All right, Rodd, you're going to be looking at MAC contest. Miami, a real experienced team, and they were really good to bettors, covering 6 of 8 to close the year last year against Ball State. They're going to be laying a 1.5. Total sits here at 55.5.
Yeah, looking at the Red Hawks here versus the Cardinals. MAC going to kick off on Wednesday. A huge game here on Wednesday night, considering they're only playing 6 games this year in the MAC. So all these MAC battles are going to count huge. And the Red Hawks went 7-2 last year in MAC battles. Looking at the Red Hawks, they're returning their quarterback Brett Gabbett, who was a freshman last year, so he should be improved this year. He's also returning a good portion of their roster on defense. They like to run the ball. Both of their running backs in this game are out. Tyree Shelton, he's out for the season due to injury. Bester, who has a foot injury, he's probably not going to play in this game. But they'll have some guys that'll step up and still do the job. They're returning their top wide receiver, who was catching every 12 yards per reception last year. He's going to be back, so that he'll be even better. You look at for me, the biggest thing here is the Red Hawks defense. They're the reason why they did so well last year, and they're returning a whole lot of people. They might have lost a few key pieces, but their strength of this Miami team is their defense. And they're going against this Cardinals team, who their strength is the passing game. But for me, the Red Hawks team here, their defense will shut down that passing game, slow down the Cardinals, and their offense will get enough points here and win the game.
All right, there you go. Ron says take Miami, Ohio, -1.5 against Ball State. Chris, looking at this Ball State team, this is a team that really struggled down the stretch where they lose 4 of their final 5 games.
No, for sure, and I definitely think that Ball State's going to have to rely on their offense like they did for much of last season. Drew Plitt was a great quarterback, 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. This Ball State offense scored almost 35 points a game, but they also gave up over 31. And while the losses of Shelton and Bester do concern me a little bit for Miami, Ohio, this is still a Ball State defense that gave up 188 rushing yards a game last year, near the bottom 10 in the country. And you know what? I'm leaning more towards the over here. I think we see an offensive battle, and only set at 55.5. This total seems a little bit too low for me for a game that I could see scoring into the 60s. So I'm leaning towards the over in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Of course, this is a Ball State team near the bottom of college football in sacks, so there's no pressure on the quarterback. So again, I like what Rodd is saying here with the Red Hawks in this one. Anything you had to add, Rodd, in this game?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Chris as well. I lean the over as well. We're definitely going to see some points here in this matchup on Wednesday night.
All right, Rodd, why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
I still got the winning side in tonight's Monday night matchup. Don't miss out. Be sure to grab it.
All right, guys, so check out Rodd Zawacky over at Pig Dogs Premium. Pick up the play for tonight. Also, you can pick up his 30-day all sports pass. Get every play that Rodd releases over at Pig Dogs Premium. We're talking college football, NFL. We're going to get into college basketball in 3 weeks, so that 30 days will be part of the early college basketball. He also delves into soccer, Premier League, and we've got some Champions Leagues coming up as well. So check Rodd Zawacky up over at Pig Dogs Premium. Get on board with him, and you'll get into the winner's circle with Rodd Zawacky over at Pig Dogs Premium. Rodd, as always, great having your show. Have a great night, and we will talk with you tomorrow.
Great to be here. You guys have a good night, and I'll have a Champions League pick for you on my little board as we hammered our board. We hammered our board on Friday before we left, right? We got our winner.
Oh, you
on
sure
Friday,
did.
so,
That's right. That's right.
right.
The soccer
So,
plays came in strong.
I'll have a Champions League pick for you guys on my little board.
On his board. All right, guys. So stay tuned. When we recap the plays of the day, we'll be able to see Rodd's play as we close the show. So stay tuned. We'll also recap every pick you heard on the show today. So stay tuned for that as well. All right, Rodd, we'll talk with you tomorrow. Have a great night. All right, we'll continue on here on the drive-thru with Joe D'Amico and Chris Ruffolo. We're going to go ahead and bring in El Ninos. Coming down from his high, Joe El Ninos loves those Dodgers and loves those Lakers, so he hit the exacta this year.
Absolutely. I'm very excited for him, excited for the people in L.A. Look at him. This is the first time he's not sporting an L.A. shirt. As a matter of fact, to our viewers and listeners out there, you missed a real treat. Prior to the show starting, Al actually was shirtless. And woo! Wow! I thought I was on the wrong video show. But I gotta tell you guys, as impressive as he is shirtless, he is getting winners. I see him on top of the board, and I know he's got something exciting happening today.
That's right, Al Ninos. Of course, he's sporting a shirt. He actually is sporting a shirt, Joe D'Amico. When we put him in full screen, this looks like a Galaxy, right? Now you're jumping on another bandwagon? Is that what we're looking at, or what?
Oh, I don't think they have much of a bang. I think the bandwagon's on the new LA team, the football club they got there.
All right.
They've been doing pretty well this season. Yeah, rough stretch for the Galaxy, but they are coming off a win though, so hope to keep that up.
All right. Well, you're going to be looking at some Champions League game today, but do you keep tabs on the MLS? Because I know Rodd will dabble in with some MLS, but is an MLS something? I could tell by your expression when you ask a Premier League guy MLS, and man, they just kind of give you that look like, oh my goodness, disgusting.
No, I've had the pleasure to go to a couple MLS games, but I don't follow it nearly as closely as I do European soccer, unfortunately. I might have to start. I mean, once, let's say sports are slowing down, but new sports are starting up too, so we'll see. But definitely Champions League's what's got most of my attention as far as soccer goes right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Champions League. Now, you're going to be looking at this one between Real Madrid and Inter Milan, and it looks like Real is a slight favorite in this one. How do you see this one in Champions?
Yeah, this is two big European clubs going at it. As you mentioned, Madrid's the pretty sizable favorite here. They're off to a pretty bad start in the Champions League with a draw and a loss, so they will want all 3 points in this game to keep their Champions League's hopes alive. They're dealing with some injuries, but none of them are bigger than Lukaku for Inter. He's listed as questionable, but he's really expected to miss this match, which will be a huge blow to Inter. And I think that's what the edge that Madrid will need to win this game. So I'm taking Madrid on the money line. They've allowed a lot of goals, but again, I think Lukaku being out, don't think Inter generates enough offense to get the job done against Madrid here. Should be a pretty good game, but I think Madrid wins like a 1-goal game.
All right, so Al says take Real Madrid minus 115 against Inter Milan. Chris, I know you follow European soccer, of course, here in Champions League. What say you in this matchup?
No, for sure. This is a must-win for two teams that, going into this tournament in a group with Shakhtar Donetsk and Borussia Mönchengladbach. I did not think that on match day 3 that Real Madrid and Inter Milan would be in a must-win game so that they wouldn't fall to bottom of the group. I think that, the loss of Lukaku is a big one for Inter Milan. I do think, though, that both teams are going to come out needing a win in this one. They're both going to come out firing. I'm personally looking at the draw. I can see this being a draw at full time. Again, that's just an initial lean. I still got to delve a little bit deeper into it. But again, I think I could see a draw. The draw is profitable right now, plus 300. But if you're looking at a score draw, because I don't think there's going to be a shutout in this game. I think we're looking at maybe a 1-1 or even a 2-2 game. And if you take a tie with both teams to score, that bumps it up to plus 350. So I think that's where my initial lean is at right now. I could see them canceling each other out at full time.
All right, that's Chris Ruffolo here. Join us on the drive-through. El Ninos in this segment, looking at Champions League. Anything else, Al, you're going to be looking at in the cards coming up tomorrow?
Yeah, my the draw I like tomorrow is actually the Shakhtar match against Borussia Mönchengladbach. So I think that one should end up in a draw. So you could get a plus 2 270, I see it. So that's some pretty decent value on two teams that have been ending a lot of games in draws. So that's the draw I like there.
That's why you like. Okay, Chris, any other matchups up there in champions you're looking at?
I think the shorter list for me is games that I don't like for tomorrow. I mean, to tell you the truth, there's a lot to like. I think on tomorrow's card. I will say though, and I've gotten a lot of scoffs for saying this. Don't be surprised if Bayern Munich drop points tomorrow against Salzburg. This is a Salzburg team that's scoring 4.2 goals a game domestically. They've got the rivalry game against Borussia Dortmund on Saturday. This could be a bit of a look-ahead spot, considering that they're probably thinking that they've got this group pretty much locked up. So I would just take a look at maybe a small wager on Salzburg. I was also looking at Ajax as a premium for everybody out there, but you know what the problem is now? Ajax, obviously, 11 confirmed cases of COVID within that team, so that's going to be a hard play to make, just based on not knowing what's going on in that lineup. I'm just trying to pull up the schedule here. I think, but I'm with Al. You know, I truthfully think that tomorrow, that entire group with Inter Milan and Real Madrid and Shakhtar and Borussia Mönchengladbach are going to have the two games of the day. Luckily, one's at 12:55, so we can watch both games. But those, I think, are going to be the two games of the day tomorrow. Those are going to be the two most entertaining.
All right, that was our Champions League coverage here for our show on Monday. Al, as we're approaching the top of the hour, why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Yeah, we had another soccer play come through. So the soccer plays have actually been pretty good on the premium side since American sports started back up. Gonna have at least one tomorrow on the premium side, but as Chris said, there's a couple good games out there, so might be more than one. And yeah, the thing I want to mention too is be very careful with Ajax tomorrow. The whole team's listed as out, so just be careful. That one looks good on paper at first glance, but yeah, you gotta be careful with COVID right now.
Absolutely, guys. So check out Ninos over at Pig Dogs Premium. Why not pick up one of those 30-day all sports pass there at the site? Pick up all of his plays from NFL, college football for 30 days. He also sprinkles in some soccer plays, Premier League, Champions League. Of course, college basketball begins in about 3 weeks, so that'll get you set up here for Al for 30 days, all sports pass at Pig Dogs Premium. All right, Al, as always, great having your show. Have yourself a great night, and we'll talk with you again tomorrow. Hope those good luck with those Champions League games.
Yeah, thanks. And real quick, I also had, I don't think I mentioned the side and total on tonight's NFL game, if you guys wanted to check that out too. But yeah.
All right. Check it out. Side and total for El Ninos over at Pig Dogs Premium. All right, now have a great night. We'll talk with you tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you then.
All right, that was our buddy El Ninos. All right, continue here on the show. It's time for my free pick, and I'm gonna go against Akron. All right, why not? Right, I'm gonna take Western Michigan minus the 18. Akron 0-12 overall, and last year they were 1-11 ATS. They lost 6 of their past 7 games by 21 points or less. They averaged just 10 points a game last year. If you look at their offensive stats near the bottom, I'm not a big fan of the quarterback that's returning this year. Our man Cato Nelson, the offensive line was putrid. I mean, they couldn't protect him. Poor Cato, this guy was running around those MAC turfs. It was ugly. So we're going to go ahead and lay the points here with Western Michigan, the 18 against Akron. Chris, your thoughts on that game? As I said, as I joked before the show, I thought this was a first quarter line when I saw it.
I mean, I can't argue with you. I think this game's actually going to be not just ugly; it's going to be bowling shoe ugly. It's going to be, we talked about it before the show. I said the reason that Akron's team is named the Zips is because that's how many points they're going to score on a game-to-game basis. I mean, this Akron team was horrible. There's something to be said for them returning 89% of their team from last year. I think that's the number I saw, but it doesn't mean that much when you had an Akron team that could barely score a field goal. And I'm just looking at it right now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games where they scored 7 points or less. That is not going to cut it in anything. That's not going to cut it in high school. Like we said earlier, that's not going to cut it in Pop Warner. So this is a terrible Akron team. I think even with Western Michigan having even a couple question marks within that offense, it's better than whatever Akron's got going on right now. I've got Western Michigan pushed up to 20.5. I'd push it up to 23.5. This is going to be over by halftime, and this is going to be a massacre.
I think what's going to happen when people realize Akron's playing tomorrow, you could see this one go over 20, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I just realized you can't spell massacre without MAC, so this is definitely going to be a beat down for Western Michigan in this game.
You know, Joe, fortunately it's a MAC school because the team is terrible. You know, I don't know what a bookmaker does, you know, when you have to put a lineup on this Akron team.
Well, Tony, I grew up in Little Italy, Manhattan, New York City, where you couldn't swing a dead cat and not hit a bookmaker. And I'll tell you what, I've never seen a bookmaker go out of business. All you got to do is adjust your line. A good friend of mine, who was the known as the biggest bookmaker in the United States, he was here in town. He owned the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which they featured in the Casino movie where Joe Pesci owned it. He actually owned it, and he's a good friend of mine. And he told me the golden rule. He says, I don't care how much money I take. I just keep moving the line. It's always in the number, Tony. It's always in the number. But I will tell you, looking at this MAC conference, there's 4 teams here collected. I mean, if you combine them, Chris, if you combine like NIU, EMU, Akron, and Bowling Green, do you think you could get 6 or 8 wins this season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's set the over under for that at 7.5. And then let's say under for that, because you know what? Even in a division even in a conference where you're going to have 6 games, you know, everybody's like, oh, you know, every team in there's a lot of parity. You're going to have 2-4 to 4-2 across the board. No. There's going to be an 0-6 in Akron. There could easily be a 1-5 in 2 more of those teams, and maybe you get a 2-4 because those 2 teams played each other. It's a bad bottom end of the conference, and this is one of those conferences where there seems to be a lot of parity on name brand, but then you look at the teams that are actually there, and this is one of the conferences, for being a smaller conference, where I think you have one of the more sizable discrepancies from the top tier to the bottom tier, and and it's one of those things that you're going to see as the season rolls on.
Yeah, no doubt we're seeing that. We didn't touch on that. We didn't touch on the Toledo Bowling Green, but that's a big line at 22. We may touch on it a little bit tomorrow, so stay tuned to the show here, the drive-through. Guys, we're on Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. It's your prime time show to get you ready for all the day's action. So let's go ahead and recap the picks from today's show. All right, we started off with Brian Bitler looking at Thursday Night Football. We had the 49ers. He had 49ers plus the 3 against the Packers. Then Joe D'Amico, Central Michigan, laying the point against Ohio. Kevin Thomas, Kent State, minus the 6 against Eastern Michigan. Chris Ruffolo, Buffalo Bulls, minus the 11 against Northern Illinois. Charles, our friend from Spread Knowledge, take the Giants Buccaneers over 46 points. Rodd Zawacky, Miami O, the Red Hawks, experienced team, one of the most experienced teams in the MAC, minus 1.5 against Ball State. We went into Champions League action with Ninos, Real Madrid, minus 115 against Inter Milan. Yours truly, Western Michigan, laying the 18 against Akron. So we'll always ask the question at the end of the show. We'll start with Chris. Other than your pick, which one do you like the best?
You can ask me this today, and I have an answer for you. You know, we're known for our bird cages on the morning show, and you know, I'm having a hard time, you know, picking between 2. So you know what? I'm going to go with, you know what? Let's do a host bird cage. I like my pick, I like Joe's pick, and I like Tony's pick.
All right,
we're going to do those 3.
We're doing the 3-team parlay on the host. Joe D'Amico, other than yours, which one do you like the best?
Excuse me, Tony. I'm on my mobile phone app putting a bet in on those 3 teams as we speak, a 3-teamer. Honestly, I think the show has a hat full of winners. I'm going to go with the guy I've never been on the show with before. I was proud to be on the show today, Kevin Thomas. I like his Kent State pick under a touchdown over EMU. I think that they can clearly win by 12, 14 points or more. I do like your pick. I like Chris's pick. I think all the picks on the show today were really, really good picks. If I had to pick one besides mine, because we all know I'm a genius. No, if I had to pick one besides mine, I'm going to go with Kevin Thomas's Kent State at 6.
All right, Kevin Thomas, Kent State 6. All right, guys, that was our drive-through show. Remember, the morning show at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Mitch and Company. You'll find Chris, of course, as well as Brian Bitler, Rodd Zawacky, and we'll be on the show, so check that out. And we do this all again tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, let's bring in all the pick dogs from today's show. Give out a wave, and don't forget to look for that play from Rodd Zawacky, right below my square there. You'll be able to see his play there on the birdcage as we close the show. Let's give everyone a wave. Thanks for joining us. Tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m.